Okay, so first, a little bit about what we're doing at Aqua Medical. We have a platform technology. It's water vapor ablation to treat disease throughout the GI tract. It's a catheter, it goes through the endoscope, goes through the mouth. It's a 30-minute outpatient procedure, conscious sedation, non-surgical. The patient can go home or go back to work the same day. And we have three very large therapeutic targets. So first, ablate Barrett's esophagus to prevent esophageal cancer. Second, to ablate the duodenum to target type 2 diabetes. Very interesting. And the third is to ablate pancreatic cysts to prevent pancreatic cancer. So three therapeutic targets, three really large market opportunities, one platform technology to address them all, and powerfully, one physician who does the procedures. This is the GI endoscopist who drives the endoscope. So it's powerful economics for the sales force of a strategic. All right. System looks like this. We have the smart generator console. We have a portfolio that we create of unique catheter tips for each area in the GI tract that we're targeting. All right, first, Barrett's esophagus is a potentially precancerous condition. 3 million people have Barrett's, and standard of care is endoscopic ablation. So here is our Aqua procedure. The endoscope is going through the mouth, going down to the esophagus, and you can see our catheter, our blue catheter. And what we do is we deploy two shape memory self-expanding discs, and they create this really neat treatment chamber where we precisely dose the steam. Now, it's interesting, the esophagus is not a smooth organ. It has all these interstitial areas and crevices and nooks and crannies and the curvatures. Vapor is the perfect ablation agent because in spite of that, it can get through all those irregularities and also get a controlled depth of ablation into the mucosa, which is what you're looking for in Barrett's. Okay, the current technology, the market leader, the one on the left, is Medtronic. It's a great product, but of course it has some issues that you would expect me to mention. If you look, it sits next to the endoscope. It's too big to fit through the endoscope. So what that means is if you're at the patient and the physician is actually manipulating two devices through the patient's mouth. So what does that do? It immediately makes it an expert physician task. So it really constrains the market. Also, it's wires wrapped around a balloon and it's rigid. So what happens, it misses these irregularities. So it misses areas, they have to repeat procedures. And a study actually showed patients require 2.8 procedures median be over the course of many months because they have to ablate, they come back, we miss these areas, ablate again, etc. So now if you contrast that to Aqua, you see our blue catheter comes right through the endoscope. Any GI doc can do this procedure, and it's extremely easy to deploy our disc and dose and retrieve them. So our thesis is faster, easier to use, fewer procedures per patient, and lower cost. It's a far lower cost device than the complex balloon. Now, interesting fact, the person who created the radiofrequency ablation Medtronic technology, it has about 95% market share. That person is our chairman of the board. So Greg Barrett, so it's really great. So it's kind of like, hey, yes, that was old, now it's the next thing, this is new, we have the Tesla versus a combustion engine, so it helps us a lot. All right, so the second one, duodenum diabetes. There's a large body of evidence out there that describes the role that the duodenum plays in glucose homeostasis, in metabolic disease, including type 2 diabetes. And more recently, though, there have been randomized controlled studies that show endoscopic ablation of the duodenum can actually reduce hemoglobin A1C and in certain cohorts of patients enough so they can completely eliminate daily injected insulin. So huge deal. A 30-minute outpatient procedure and you can stop daily injections. So a lot of money, a lot of focus is going into this endoscopic ablation. One company has raised $322 million, and their post-money valuation, we found out, is $870 million. So the beauty of this for Aqua is that physicians that are involved in these studies in this space actually approached us and they said, hey, Lloyd, two things. One, the effect is real, is a real effect. And number two, that the devices they're using for this are extremely complex. So if you look at that endoscope, to get that endoscope into that position in the duodenum takes an average skilled endoscopist about 2 minutes. So Our catheter is so easy to deploy and retrieve. So the guy's saying, look, you have the ideal product. Long story short, we're already in animal studies, and results look really promising. So obviously, we're pursuing this one aggressively. All right, the third one, pancreatic cancer. Obviously, a terrible disease. Right now, there's no effective non-surgical option. It's really, you may be familiar, it's a Whipple procedure if surgery is necessary, resection of the pancreas. It's a terrible impact to quality of life. And what I did not know is 3.5 million people have pancreatic cysts. And they find them from essentially defensive medicine. There's so many MRIs and CT scans done. They say, oh, by the way, you have a pancreatic cyst. Come over and we'll send you to this GI doc that has a unique endoscope. And here's the procedure. It's also an upper endoscopy procedure. It goes down, you see, through past the stomach, sits right next to the pancreas. Now this scope has a special probe. It's an ultrasound probe, ultrasound tip. And that finds the pancreatic cyst, see it there, and then a needle goes into that cyst. And what they do today is they aspirate the fluid and they characterize it. So it's benign, indolent, aggressive, or cancer. And that's it. They're not treating. And so the patients are scared, well, what's happening? It's indolent, come back in a few months, we'll tell you if it's progressed. And the doctors that are doing these procedures, I can tell you, they are like, we need something for this. This is terrible. Now, up to this point, this is all standard of care. Aqua has done nothing to this point. However, vapor is the perfect ablation agent for this because it can fit through this tiny 19-gauge needle, and it has an enormous amount of energy, 540 kcals per cc. It dumps, and then it collapses into just droplets of water, 80 times reduction. So it's the perfect ablation agent. We're already in sort of ex vivo animal studies, and obviously we're pursuing this one. Okay, where are we as a business? We have 3 510Ks cleared. And the two things, one, we are cleared to ablate throughout the entire GI tract. So we can pick a target through the entire GI tract, and in the red box there, we were given the entire bevy of indications that radiofrequency ablation has, even expanded ones that they achieve later. So we're thrilled with that. We have a great first-in-human study for esophagus, 19 patients published in Endoscopy. We think we have a fantastic team. So Pete Nicholas, the founder and chairman of Boston Scientific, has invested over $2 million in Aqua. Greg Barrett, we talked about him. He was the one that sold Bar-X to Covidien Medtronic. He's done many deals. He's very operational. He's started many companies. We work together very closely, weekly, even daily sometimes. Bill Starling, maybe a lot of you guys know Bill. First, all the companies he started are selling over $4 billion out there today. And I asked him put a CV, and I said, well, how many IPOs have you done, Bill? He goes, well, I've done three and a half. What are you talking about? He says, well, we were doing an IPO, and then we got acquired before he could finish it. So the guy's very humble, too, but really helpful operationally to us. So fantastic. So, in summary, platform technology, we're going after some really big clinical needs, 3 510Ks, strong early clinical work. We have reimbursement. We actually have coding coverage payment for the esophageal application. Strong IP. We work, all the top KOLs work with us, and we have, we think, a veteran team. We raised $15.5 million Series A, and we're seeking 15 for the Series B. Thank you.